Alright, so this is our VRIKSH tree setup. So you can select any of these trees, but for this example, I'm gonna select this tree set. So let's isolate it. So by default, these trees have a custom bark material, which is just a node setup in Blender. So either you can bake this on a texture, or let's use a texture based material. So I'm gonna use this bark style 7. You can change the UVs of the trunk here. Now, just so that it doesn't mess up our original file, I'm gonna copy these into a new Blender file. So these trees are created with a instancing in the geometry node to keep the face count minimum in the file. Now to convert these, you can just select and go to the geometry node editor. So this is the geonode setup. You come to the very last, and after this join geometry node, we need to add a realize instance node. So shift A, realize instance, and plug it in between the group output. Now you can simply select it, go to object, convert to mesh, and this is a mesh now. Now let's see the material and UVs for this. So if you select the tree, go to the material, you will find these two materials. You can delete this empty material. One is bark and one is for the leaves. However, if you go to the object data properties, there is only one UV map. This UV map is only for the leaves. So let's create the UV map for the bark. So go to the attributes, and in here you will find this trunk UV, which is coming from the geometry node setup. Select it and come to the attribute specials and click on convert attributes. Select the mode generic, and in domain select face corner, and in data type select 2D vector. Select OK, and now you see there are two UV maps. Now to merge these two together, you can go to edit mode, select the bark. So you can select the material and click on select, press P, selection. So now these two are different objects. Now you can select your bark again, go to your UV map, delete the first UV map, and rename this trunk UV to UV map. Go to your leaves, and in here delete this trunk UV map. Now you can again join these two back together. So Ctrl J. So you can see the UVs are not visible on our trunk. So go to the shader editor, and in the bark material, you can see that the mapping is coming from the attribute node. So just delete the attribute node and plug the UV into the mapping. Alright, now the scale of our trees might be very different to the scale in UE5. So here I have imported the UE5 mannequin, and you can see our tree is very large in scale. So you can scale it down as per your requirement, and then apply the scale and rotation. Now we need to clean up our geometry a little bit. So if you go to the edit mode, first thing that you can see is that our trunk is not closed. You can see a gap here. So you can easily join these two edge loops together. Just select the edge loops. So Control click and Control Shift click. Then press Control E. Click on Bridge Edge Loops, and in the options select Merge. Now there is one more thing. There might be a face orientation difference in the trunk. So if you go to this overlay and select on face orientation, you can see this is in red color. So press L to select the trunk and press Shift N, and it will reorient the faces. So now our tree is ready to be exported. Select the tree and go to Export and FBX. And in this FBX section, if you go to this path mode and select it as copy, it will add the textures within the FBX file. Alright, so here I am in the Unreal Engine editor. Now here let's import our tree. In the import option, you can build nanite and select create new materials. It will automatically import the textures and also apply the materials for you. So here is our tree. Now in the default state, it might mess up your alpha texture. So I have imported the alpha texture separately here. You can come to your Blender file, select the material. So all the textures are packed with this file. So you can come to the alpha texture, click on this unpack item and unpack it anywhere. So now let's edit our leaf material a little bit. So right now this material is opaque. You can change this blend mode to masked, and in shading model you can select subsurface. Let us delete this duplicated file. Now ideally there should be a subsurface texture, but for now I'm going to plug the same texture in the subsurface slot. Also in the material properties, you can click on this two-sided material. Now let's add our alpha texture. So drag it inside and plug this RGB node to opacity mask. You can also add the same texture with a multiplication factor of about 0.2 and then plug this to the emissive color. So for a static tree, this basic material is good enough. However, here I have added wind to the material. So to add the wind, I have added this node setup to world position offset. And this setup will be added to both the materials, leaf and trunk. To get the detail of this node setup, you can check out my previous tutorial. I'll put the link in the description. Alright, so this is how you can convert the geometry node files to meshes and export as FBX to Unreal Engine. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.